So I'd made a video previously about the Nintendo Switch 2 game file sizes, but we only had basically like, I don't know, I think it was like 4 or 5 games, and it wasn't really full information. We have some fuller information. So what do I mean by that? For example, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. With that game, we had sort of just the base game, but now we have actually the total game, the base game plus the upgrade, which I don't think we had before. Plus we have a bunch of other games. You have some third-party games in here as well, and just a little bit of a fuller idea of roughly about, you know, how big are some of these different kind of games. So we're gonna jump into this one. If you do enjoy this kind of content, leave a like, subscribe for more, do a variety of Nintendo-based content. Let's go ahead and jump straight into this. Now, in terms of sources and stuff, one of them I know the source of. One of them, it's going around all over the place, and I'm not sure the original source. I think it's some kind of, you know, maybe Chinese. No, it's a Japanese source. Never mind. I'll throw it on the screen first. Let's take a look at it. You can see. So this is just kind of giving you an idea of, like, you know, what's the different file sizes are. So we got Mario Kart World. We talked about this before. It's about 23, 24 gigs, you know, ballpark. 23.4 says here. Some of these are not completely accurate. We're going to check out another source. So for example, Kirby, technically 5.7. Same thing with Super Mario Party Jamboree, you know, the upgrade. Technically 7.7, but I'll explain it in a second. Breath of the Wild, 24.1 gigs. Tears of the Kingdom, you know, just under 20 gigs. Donkey Kong Bonanza, 10 gigs. And the one that I actually wanted to focus on the most, because this one's not in the other list, is Hogwarts Legacy at 14.8 gigs. So I'm going to throw you another screenshot up on screen so you guys can see. This one I seen Nintendo tweet out. Like, again, the first one I seen pretty much everybody and their mother tweet out. This one I seen Nintendo on Twitter tweet out. So Cyberpunk 2077 is about just under 60 gigs. And again, we talked about before how they're fitting this on a 60 gig cartridge. Yakuza 0 Director's Cut is 53.7 gigs. In a previous video, I talked about the fact that this is actually going to be on a game key card, which I don't know why. I'm not sure why some of these third-party companies are doing that. But anyways, Mario Kart World, again, 23.4 gigs. The one that really leaves me scratching my head still, and I spoke about this in a video, again, about game key cards and whatnot, which games are game key cards and physical, and which one are actual, you know, physical full games, which ones are digital games, you know, etc. Bravely Default is 11 gigs, okay? It's 11 gigs, and they are opting for a game key card. So you would assume the Final Fantasy VII, which we don't have yet, Final Fantasy VII Remake, that is, it's probably going to be a game key card as well. 11 gigs, and it's like, why not just put it on a cartridge? I really don't understand, because a game key card, I mean, it's still a physical cartridge. It's just that it's a license for the game, and then you have to download the game, and it's whatever. Donkey Kong Bonanza, 10 gigs. Again, Breath of the Wild. So this is where we get a little bit more of a breakdown. So Breath of the Wild, it shows 14.4 gigs plus 9.8 gigs. So that's kind of like the base game plus the upgrade. So the upgrade is 9.8 gigs, it seems like. The base game is 14.4. But anyway, so that's a total of 24.2 gigs. Same thing with Tears of the Kingdom. Interesting about Tears of the Kingdom, it's actually smaller. So 16.3 gigs plus 3.6 gigs for a total of 19.9. And again, Tears of the Kingdom, it's weird that it's smaller because, again, we have an extra whole, you know, other area with the underground kind of area. But anyways, Kirby, again, we can see a little bit more of a breakdown. 5.8 gigs is the base game, 11 gigs for the upgrade, because the upgrade, you got to understand with Kirby, is also DLC. We're getting a bunch of new content, new levels, new world, you know, enemies, bosses, you know, new story, all of this. So that's understandable, but that means it's massive, because I mean, the base game was 5.8 gigs, but again, the DLC is also upgraded, right? Quality. That's the 11 gigs also includes the upgraded pack and all that, you know, better resolution, all that. So Super Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV. So again, the upgraded version for Nintendo Switch 2 is a total of 13 gigs. So 5.3 gigs for the base game, 7.7 for the upgrade, for a total of 13 gigs. And then what you don't see on here is Madden. So I believe Madden NFL 26, I think it was confirmed to be 62 gigs, which is a little bit bigger than Cyberpunk. And it's cutting it a little bit close in terms of putting it on a cartridge, because again, these cartridges, as far as I'm aware, are 64 gigs. So interesting to see that some of these games that are much smaller are just not going on actual, like, full games on the cartridge, and they're opting for the game key cards. Again, I mentioned that in a different video, but it's just really weird. And the other thing I want to note is that how good Nintendo is at optimization, you know, in terms of their games and stuff. It just proves that, like, they're really good at compressing files, and it's really incredible, especially even for the third-party stuff. I don't know. I would assume that, I guess maybe there's something there that Nintendo is probably supplying, you know, some sort of level of information, maybe to some of these companies in terms of how to compress their files better to fit on these cartridges and whatnot. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it's just, you know, because there is a big difference. But some people will say, well, yeah, well, Cyberpunk is a very different, you know, game graphically and stuff than, like, obviously Mario Kart World, which is a fair, you know, point as well. But anyways, all that to say, these are some of the actual sizes for these games. What do you guys think? Again, this is also to keep in mind, you know, in terms of your storage, right? Like, what kind of SD card do you want to get, right? What size? You're going to get a 256, which is kind of like on the lower end. Are you going to opt for, you know, like a 512 gigabyte SD card? Or are you going to go up to like a 1 terabyte? That's kind of the real question. So, but anyways, thank you guys for watching so far. Why don't you tell me what you thought in the comments about this, you know, all this information. It's interesting to say the very least. I mean, there's something more I can say about that. Be sure to leave likes and subscribe if you want to continue to support the channel so we can continue making videos like this one, and I will see you in the next video. Till the next one, friends, game on. Thanks for watching.